Some of the most damaging relationships are the hardest ones to explain, and they don't have to look extreme in order to be deeply harmful. Welcome to the Covert Narcissism Podcast, where we make sense of what never quite made sense. If you've been listening for a while, you may already understand what's happening in your relationship. You can see the patterns, you can name the behaviors, but maybe you still feel stuck in the same cycle. This is where coaching comes in. It's not about learning more, it's about having the support to finally apply what you already know and begin moving forward. You need a coach. If you're ready for that next step, I invite you to join me in my coaching program. You can learn more about it at covertnarcissism.com. Today, my older son moved out. He is 26 years old, and if you have been parenting through a covert narcissistic relationship, watching your kids absorb things that they should never have to absorb, wondering if the damage is permanent, I want you to stay with me today because I want to show you what is possible on the other side. The last 26 years of my life are like a parade in my mind today. The good, the bad, and everything in between, and there has been a lot of in between. I want to talk to you today about something that is very close to my heart: parenting with a covert narcissistic partner. I want to talk about our kids. What happens to them? What happens to us as their parent? What happens to the relationship that we have with them? And what is actually possible, even when it does not look possible for a very long time? If you are a parent in a narcissistic relationship or recovering from one, you know that the weight of this isn't just about you. It never was. You've been watching your children absorb things that they should never have to absorb. You've been trying to protect them, compensate for what they weren't getting, and trying to hold everything together all at the same time. That is an exhausting place to live. If you are a parent in a narcissistic relationship or recovering from one, you know that the weight of this isn't just about you. It never was. It's about them. You have been watching your children struggle. You've been seeing their pain and their confusion. You've been trying to protect them, compensate for what they weren't getting, maybe overcompensate, and hold everything together all at the same time. And this is an exhausting place to be. And if your children are struggling, really struggling, there's a fear that settles into your chest that is unlike anything else. It is not loud. It doesn't announce itself. It just sits there, heavy and constant. I know that fear. I lived with it for years. There were many moments throughout my son's teenage years where I thought, I'm losing him. And that thought was strong and it was terrifying. He went through phases of being angry at the world, at me, at his dad, at his brother, at himself, at everyone. And those phases were isolating and harsh. He went through seasons of depression where he would stay in bed for most of the day. He struggled during these phases with motivation and self-care in ways that just broke my heart to watch. I spent many, many days with a heaviness that I carried quietly, truly wondering, will my son be okay? I want to talk to you today from the other side of that fear. Not because everything was perfect, not because I did everything right, absolutely not, but because there is something I know now that I desperately wish someone had told me during those hard years. Now, I need to take you back to January of 2019. My divorce had just been finalized 2 weeks earlier after nearly 21 years of marriage. And 1 week after that, 1 week after my divorce was final, my son attempted suicide. Now, I want to pause there and acknowledge the weight of that sentence. Because if you are a parent whose child is struggling in that way, if you've ever sat with that kind of fear, that deep sense of helplessness, I see you. I know what that place feels like, and I want you to know that you are not alone. Please may the words of what my son has been through be the very words that you need to hear for inspiration and support. In the days after that particular day, I wrote a blog post. This was before the days that I was podcasting, and I wrote it from the rawest, most honest place that I think I've ever written from. And I called it A Plea to Parents. And I'll put the link in the show notes. It's on my blog at covertnarcissism.com. And I want every parent listening here today to go read it. In that post, I talked about something that I had been doing for years without realizing the damage it was causing. When my son was hurting, when his father had torn him down and I could see the life draining right out of him, I wanted so desperately to fix it, to erase his pain, to get him back to happy as fast as I could. And I did, or at least I tried. And I thought that returning him to happiness was healing him. I was wrong. It might have made me feel better, but it certainly didn't help him. What I was actually doing was teaching him to bury it. My intense desire to rush past his pain showed him that being falsely okay kept peace in his world and protected the people he loved. He was protecting me. Even as a young child, he learned to put on a mask, to push the pain down, to perform fine when he was anything but fine. And burying that pain is not healing. You know that. You know that very well already for yourself. Well, that is true for our kids too. It is not a solution. It's a slow erosion. It strips away the ability to be genuine, and it sets the stage for so much suffering down the road. Now, I was not the abuser, and I want to be clear about that. But my way of coping, even though it was very loving and well intentioned, it added to the damage in ways that I could not see at the time. It took me years to fully understand this. And when I did, it shook me to my core. So I want to say something directly to you if you're in that place right now. If your child is struggling, if you are watching them go through something dark and you don't know how to reach them, please don't rush past it. Don't push them back to happy before they are ready. Just sit with them. Sit in that pain with them. Let them know that all of their feelings are welcome. The hard ones, the confusing ones, the ones that don't make sense yet, especially those dark feelings. You don't have to fix it. You don't have to have all the answers. You just have to be there. And please reach out for help when you need it. You certainly don't need to go through this alone. That post, called A Plea to Parents, was the beginning of a new chapter for me. I didn't know it then. I was just trying to survive the week right then. But looking back, that was a significant moment where I began to truly see what my son needed. I began to see him for who he was and what he was carrying, and this changed me. I have said many times that being a parent is the one thing that has taught me more about myself than anything else in life, and I absolutely mean it. Now, before I go on, I want to say something that I believe with everything in me. It does not matter how old your child is. It does not matter whether they are 7 or 17 or 27 or 47. It is never too late to build something new with them. It's never too late to become a safe relationship in their life. It's never too late to offer the kind of relationship that's built on trust and unconditional love. You may be in the middle of the chaos right now with young children still in the home, or your kids may be older out in the world and you wonder if that window has closed. It has not, and I am living proof of that. Whatever stage you are in, start now. Start today. Start with whatever little pieces of relationship you have. Several years after that day in January, my son finished college and actually moved back home with me. And this was another one of those seasons of struggles and deep, deep learning. He was sleeping until the middle of the afternoon often. His productivity was low. His motivation seemed almost non existent at times. And if you've ever heard the phrase failure to launch, that is exactly how it felt to me. He wasn't getting on his feet, and I didn't know what to do with that. Well, around that time, a very good friend of mine, someone who's been a bit of a mentor in my life, shared something with me that I will never forget. He told me more about the recent death of his son. His son had struggled for many years and had died by suicide in his 40s. And I felt horrible for him and for his family. The grief in his voice was genuine and real. But then he said something to me. He said, I pushed him too hard to get onto his feet too soon. He wasn't ready, and he never really got his feet under him. As a young adult, I wish I had given him the time he needed. If only I had known then what I see now. And then he went on and said, if I can give you any advice, if your son needs some time, give it to him. Give him safety and love and space. There's no rush, no urgency needed. I can never give that to my son now, but you can. I want you to sit with that for a moment. I certainly did. Because I know so many of you are feeling the pressure to fix all of this, to speed this up, to show results. The covert narcissist in your life may be pushing you, criticizing how you parent, pointing to your child's struggles as evidence of your failure. And your own fear is adding to that pressure from the inside. But I want you to hear what my friend said to me. Give them safety and love and time. There's no rush, no urgency. These words gave me permission to stop forcing something that wasn't ready to be forced. I couldn't change what my son had already been through, and you can't change that for your kids. I couldn't undo the environment he had grown up in. But I could give him this, right now. I could give him a safe space, a safe place to land. And I did. I never told my son about that conversation, not once. He didn't know that another parent's grief had quietly shaped the way that I now loved him through these coming years. Now, fast forward to just a few months ago. My son was having a rough evening, and I could feel it. When you live with someone, their emotional state becomes present to you in a way that's hard to describe, and you know what I mean, or you wouldn't be here listening. I tried a couple of times to open a door to a conversation with him to let him know that I was there if he wanted to talk, but he had no interest. He headed to his room, and so I let it go. But it kept weighing on my head. What can I say? How can I help? What can I do? There have to be words that I can give to him that will help. That's what a lot of us, truly believe and truly desire. But later that night, as I was headed to bed, I went in to just say goodnight to him. But I said something like, sometimes I don't know what to say. And sometimes I say the wrong thing. But not saying anything, that doesn't feel right to me either. So I just want you to know that I care and that I love you. He paused and he said to me, Mom, I know you do. I'm very grateful for what you have given me, and I want to give that to others. Well, at the time, I didn't know exactly what he meant by that, and I told him so, and his words that he said now went straight to my heart. He said, You've provided me safety, and I want to continue providing that for others. He continued, I know what it's like to not have that, but now I know what it's like to have it, and I can see the difference it makes. It took us a while to get here, but you've shown me what safety is, and I want to provide that safety to others, especially to kids, he said. Well, right there in that moment, I certainly didn't know what to say. I simply just told him, Thank you so much for telling me that. And I continued, I truly hope that you do take this forward and you do provide it to the world around you. I said, I love you, kid. And of course, I walked away then, and then I cried. Happy tears? Maybe. That's not quite the right word. Sad tears? Maybe that too. Just tears from the very depths of my heart. I showed up at his door not knowing what to say. But I went in being vulnerable, imperfect, just present. But that's it. That's the work. That's what counts. That's what matters. Not the grand gestures, not the perfect monologues that we've worked out. just showing up again and again, just being honest, even when you don't know what to say. He felt safe, and that is the best thing I could ever give my kid. A little while later, my son was having another hard day, and his insomnia was firing up pretty bad, and he was really struggling. His plan had been to come home that evening, but he didn't. He knew I was concerned about him, and so he called me. He told me that he was okay, but that he didn't want to talk about what was going on. He told me he was okay, but he didn't really want to talk about what was going on. He told me that his insomnia was pretty fired up that week. I asked him if he knew why his insomnia was so bad right now, and I made sure to let him know that he didn't have to tell me why. I just wanted to know if he knew of the reason. He said yes, that he did, and I asked if he wanted to talk about it, but he said no, and I let that be. Now, I want to stop there for a second because this is something I had to learn along the way. I did not always give that space. I used to push. I used to think it was the right thing to do. If I could just get them to talk, then I could help. Then we could work through it and we could, hammer it out and get solutions and move on. But I have learned that if someone isn't ready to talk, the best thing you can do is honor that. Leave the door open, sure. Let them know you care, absolutely. And then just take a step back. Learning to give that space changed our relationship. It genuinely allowed room for us to grow closer, not further apart, closer. When people know that they won't be pushed, well, now they have safety and they can come to you more freely. So I let it go. I asked if what he was dealing with would eventually resolve, and he said yes, that it would be okay. Well, then I asked him, "Are you and I good?" He laughed and said, "Mom, yes, we are good." But then he said something that I will carry with me for the rest of my life. He said, "I truly hope that someday I can have the relationship with my own kid that you and I have. Mom, I really want that." I told him that I want that for him more than anything, that I treasure what we have, and I want nothing more for him to carry that into his own family. He said, "Mom, you are the person in my life that I am the most open with. I tell you more than anyone." Of course, then he paused and said, "Until now, at least, I'm finding that with my girlfriend. So get over it." I laughed because that's exactly the kind of humor my son has. And I told him that that made me happier than he knew. It's exactly what I want for him, to have that with her, to build that in his own life, to have that with his own kids. So here we are today. My son moves out. And as I think about that, as I think about January of 2019, the fear I carried for so many years, the nights I wondered if I was losing him, the seasons of depression and struggle and heaviness, I want to speak directly to you. If you are in the thick of this right now, if your kids are still in that home, if you are parenting in what can only be described as an emotional war zone, I want you to hear this. I see you. I see you making lunches and holding them when they cry. I see you showing up to every school meeting and kissing scraped knees or trying to explain a world that doesn't make sense even to you. I see you enforcing the rules and them bucking up against it. I see you offering the hugs and them pulling away. I see you carrying the emotional weight of two parents on the shoulders of one. I see you doing it. I see you doing it alone. I see you doing it afraid, but doing it anyways. You are doing arguably the hardest and most important job of your life, and you are doing it under siege. You're parenting without a teammate, without someone to celebrate the small wins with you or hold you when you feel like you're failing, without anyone to say, "Hey, that was hard, but you did a good job." And yet you keep showing up again and again. That's not nothing. That's everything. What you are doing matters more than you know. Your children may not tell you that right now. They may be angry. They may be pulling away. They may be drowning under their own struggles. They may be in their own version of what my son went through. The isolation, the struggles, the seasons that scare you. And you may be standing there wondering if any of your efforts are getting through. But I'm telling you, they are. The safety you are building, the consistency, the showing up, the I don't know what to say, but I love you moments at the door. That is getting in. It is being stored somewhere deep inside of them. They feel it and they will carry it forward. Your love is not invisible. Your effort is not wasted. One day your child will see who showed up, who saw them, who believed in them, who was there for them, and it will matter. It will matter so much. I did an entire episode on the invisible work that you are doing, and it's called You Want to See My Bruises? Look at My Kids. I want you to go listen to it. I'll put the link in the show notes. Now, let me tell you what it's like from the other side. I used to grieve the fact that my son never had a healthy relationship modeled for him. He didn't grow up watching two people love each other well. He didn't see what a safe, respectful relationship looked like between partners. And for a long time, I thought that was a wound that could never be healed, something he would just have to carry and figure out on his own. Then I realized something. He didn't see it, but he could live it with me. I couldn't go back and rewrite his childhood. I couldn't give him a two-parent home that I wish he'd had. But I could build something now, right here, in the relationship between the two of us. I could show him what it feels like to be heard, to be seen, to be given space, to be loved without conditions, to be safe. Not as a concept he watched from a distance, not even as words that I spoke out loud, but as something he experienced in real time with me. And to be honest, it was incredibly healing for me too. And this is what I want for you. You are not just surviving this, you are building something. Every time you choose to show up with love instead of fear, every time you give space instead of pushing, every time you say, I don't know what to say, but I love you, you are constructing something in your child that no one can ever take from them. They are watching you, they are feeling you, and they will carry you with them. The seeds you are planting right now, they are there. They take root. You may not see it today. You may not see it for years. And unfortunately, some of you will never see it. But one day, when your child speaks their truth without fear, when they can love without strings, when they can look back and see who gave them safety, that will be the harvest of everything you poured into them in the dark. Give them safety. Give them love. Give them time. That is the gift. I wish you and your kids so much peace on your journey of healing. If you've been listening for a while, you may already understand what's happening in your relationship. You can see the patterns, you can name the behaviors, but maybe you still feel stuck in the same cycle. This is where coaching comes in. It's not about learning more. It's about having the support to finally apply what you already know and begin to move forward. If you're ready for that next step, I invite you to join me in my coaching program. You can learn more about it at covertnarcissism.com. Your story matters, and you deserve to be heard without judgment. Check out my coaching services at my website, again, covertnarcissism.com. And don't forget to subscribe, to thumbs up, to follow, to like this podcast so that you can get more empowering episodes like this one and to help us continue spreading the word so that our community can continue to grow. I wish you so much peace on your journey of healing. The information provided by Renee Swanson, Covert Narcissism Podcast, and CNG Life Coaching is for educational purposes only and is not to be used for diagnosis purposes and not intended to be a substitute for clinical care. Please consult a healthcare provider for guidance specific to your case. This material discusses narcissism in general. Renee shares stories from her personal experience as well as from those she has talked with for several years. Her material does not claim that any specific person has narcissism and should not be used to refer to any specific person as having narcissism. Permission is not granted to link to or repost this material to support any allegation or support a claim that any specific person is a narcissist. That would be an unauthorized misuse of this material and information provided.
If you like the show, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. It really does help the show to grow. Thank you for listening.